how do you, I mean, that raises something I wanted a subject I wanted to bring, was that there are things which boggle my mind that there are in high-end audio. There are things that I'd like to think I understand, such as amplifier design, loudspeaker design, and digital audio design. I do all the measurements for the magazine, so I think I have a handle on how engineering works in audio. And then something happens which literally blows my mind, and it doesn't fit into the worldview, such as Stephen wrote on his blog last week about a trip he and I had made to Michael Freller's house, and we were going to pick up some amplifiers for measurement, and I also wanted to do some measurements on the Wilson Max 3s that Michael is reviewing for Stereophile. They're also here on the second floor in one of the food rooms. And so Stephen and Michael are chatting away in Michael's listening room. I'm in the room outside Michael's listening room, setting up my computer and my mic preamps and so on to do the measurements. And I hear them play a Diana Krall track. And it sounded pretty good, as it should on the Max 3 speakers. And Michael's wonderful $120,000 LP player. And then there's a short gap, and I'm still fussing around with cables and so on. And then I hear the same track again, and it sounded somewhat different, it had more bass. So I'm thinking, well, Michael must have played Stephen maybe the original pressing, and then maybe a mobile fidelity pressing, you know, to show the difference. So I come out and said, that second one had more bass. What were you doing? Was it a different pressing? And Michael said, oh no, I demagnetized the LP. And I think, oh no. Because I know if I tell anybody outside our immediate community, they'll laugh and they'll think that we're crazy, and my goodness, you know, we all have sort of, you know, fairies in the bottom of our garden sitting on toadstools.
You don't.
You know, but I mean, so where does it end? Where does the science end and the silliness begin? And I don't know where, because I heard a difference. I wasn't expecting a difference. You know, I mean, from the thing, I assumed I heard a difference. I assumed it was something I knew about different pressings, but no, it was, quote, demagnetizing LPs. That scares me. But it also, I wonder if it isolates our community when we talk about stuff which is frankly scarily silly to civilians. Stephen, you were there. You heard it.
Yeah, I heard the difference.
And yesterday you heard difference in cables.
Yes. Yep. But how much weight we put on those things, do we need those differences? Some people do, some people don't. I think it's cool that it does actually work, but it doesn't scare me, you know? It's just like, I appreciate that, but I don't need it in my life because I'm happy enough with what I got. I'm reminded of something Martin Collins, the English reviewer, told me once, that when his daughter was young, and she, you know, they had to do a show and tell at her school on what their daddies did for a living. And so she proudly stands up and says, my daddy listens to wires. And you can imagine the reaction from the rest of the schoolroom, the classroom. And yeah, I mean, as I said, where does the science end and the silliness begin?
Well, I haven't listened to the effects of LP demagnetization, but I have a CD demagnetizer and the Forutec RD2, and every time I've used it, I could hear an improvement in the sound. Now, as Stephen says, is that a difference that's so huge that I have to have it every time? No, in fact, the RD2 is on the floor, and once in a while, if I'm playing CD and say, I'd really like to have this a little bit cleaner, and I demagnetize it, and it sounds a little bit cleaner, but I don't do it with every CD. I do it from time to time, and I've convinced myself that it does make a difference, and the difference is one of improvement. People can tell me, oh, the CD is a non-magnetic medium, and you know all the technical arguments back and forth. There's that entirely non-magnetic and small differences in magnetism when this one can make a difference, and all of that is potentially of some relevance. I know that if I hear a CD, I'm listening to a CD, and I think, oh, this is very nice, but I wonder what it would sound like if I demagnetize it, and I do demagnetize it and I listen to it. It's a little bit cleaner. And I don't always bother because it just gets to be too tweaky. Same sort of thing. The PS Audio, the power plant has a clean wave function. When you press that, and it sends a kind of a demagnetizing wave through the AC, and that also works. It works very well. But I don't do it every time. It's almost one of those things that it's accumulated so much grunge or whatever it is. I might as well do it, and it's easy enough to do. It's not very expensive. What I would be reluctant to do is to spend a lot of money on a product that produces perhaps marginal improvement, and then I might say, well, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, or it works, but it's a small magnitude of an effect, and I don't feel like spending that much money for it.
Sometimes it appears as though everything makes a difference, and I think sometimes I know that working as an audio writer, I often neglect to remind myself that perception itself is never a linear continuum. Your perception changes with each successive sample of whatever. I wouldn't expect to drink, I don't know, 12 glasses of wine in a row and have glass 2 taste the same as glass 1. It wouldn't surprise me at all that there's going to be perceptual differences, because apart from the intoxication element of it, because after glass 1, my palate-brain relationship have changed. 2 is going to be different, 3 is going to be different. That there will be certain elements that are constant through all those samplings, but there will be differences, and it doesn't surprise me at all. But for some reason, we're surprised when we listen to a piece of music and it sounds a certain way, and the second time through it sounds a little bit different. It could very well be no change. It could very well be, our brain is reacting differently. It could be, I don't know if you're familiar with the work of the physicist Barbara Jean. She used to work at Princeton University, and she wrote a book called The Margins of Reality, the premise of which, or the underlying question of which, was to what extent do we change reality just by the simple act of perceiving it. So there's a lot of work. I don't doubt that it made a difference. I do doubt that it had to do with, demagnetization per se, but it could have made a difference, could have scrambled your brainwaves or something. And all these things are real, and they're fun, and they're interesting, and I'm glad that people are working on them, but rather like what Stephen said, it's just, it doesn't figure in my listening. I'm looking at different things.
When John asked the question, when does the silliness start? I'm thinking, it starts as soon as I wake up. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, what are we doing? This is silly right now. We're talking about these things, but it's fun. And as long as it's fun, go for it. Yeah, if you get a kick out of putting your record on the DMAG and pressing the button, and that's fun for you, go for it, do it. And if you want to hear a difference, hear a difference.
If you can afford it, and it's not, $4,000 that could have been spent on your daughter's braces, which I know how that goes, then by all means have fun. It's, you're not hurting anyone, you're not shooting drugs, for God's sake. It's fun. Do it.
It should be fun.
It should be fun.
Another question.